Man, I'm really just not having fun with Master Duel at the moment. I wish someone would just give me a sign.
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I'll be showing off a few games from my climb of the Master Duel tournament type thing that's happening at the moment, the Kyber Cup essentially. If you watched my pack opening, my last video, you'll know that I'm falling off of Master Duel a little bit. I'm a little bit burnt out. Seeing Maxi in every game and seeing the new release of Kashtira, it's really hard to keep just grinding through these games over and over again. So I thought I'd pull out something that really gets me, really gets to my heart, and that is chain burn. Now, I was reading a lot that chain burn can actually work in this meta, especially because Kashtira has a lot of mandatory effects that need to go off, specifically a Rise Heart, and they will always activate Shangaira, as well as having a decent Pearly matchup as well. So I thought I'd try it out, and we've got a couple of wins here to show off. Let's get into the video, and we'll start with the deck list. So here is my deck list that we've got here. It's quite generic chain burn. There's a couple of things that I might consider changing if you want some more budget options, but let's just run through the card by card. So first we obviously have 3 Maxi. This is for the rare times that you end up going second, basically if you lose the coin flip. And it can also be really helpful on turn 3 to draw into some of your hand traps. The one hand trap that I mean is Mahama, the Fairy Dragon. If you don't know Mahama, this is an amazing card. During your opponent's turn, whenever anyone takes battle damage, you can use this from the hand, and it's basically a magic cylinder. You force them to take the damage again, or you can gain life points, but no one's doing that. So basically it's just a magic cylinder from hand, which can be really nice. We have 3 Lava Golem, just because it's really good against Kashtira, and of course, well, even Pearly it's good against as well, and plus 3000 burn, never hurt anyone except your opponent. We do run 1 Lord of the Heavenly Prison. I would consider running 2 or 3 of these. This is really powerful, but I didn't really want to spend any more UR points than I already have building Kashtira. We have 2 Pot of Desires here. We run 2 just because we never want to activate 1 and draw into 2 of them, but hey, sometimes it happens. We have 2 Pot of Extravagance. We're not really using the extra deck here, so we can be fine to just run 2 of these. We have 2 Triple Tactics Thrust. This new card lets us search any spell or trap or normal spell or trap from our deck and set it to the field if our opponent has a monster. This card is replaceable, but I did find it really funny, especially if you get Max Seed. You can use this to set one of your burn cards, so it's basically a searcher for your burn cards. The only time you will use this is if they shotgun a Max C, because there's not really much else other than maybe they ash a pot. So you can probably cut this just for some more burn cards if you don't want to use the Ultra Red Dust. However, this one right here is essential. Chain Strike, we have 3 of these since for some reason it's not hit on the ban list. This is kind of the core of the deck. It does so much damage, especially against some of the newer decks where they have up to Chain Link 5, mainly Labyrinth and Kashtira. So you can get at least 2000 damage off with this. So having 3 of these is kind of essential. One thing I've mentioned in my Edison Chainburn decklist video is that you can actually activate 2 of these in the same chain. There is a condition on this card that says you can't activate this card if multiple cards or effects with the same name are in the chain. But if you activate Chain Strike and then chain a Chain Strike to the Chain Strike, it checks the chain beforehand and it basically says, well, there's no duplicates in there. So you can do that. Just a little tip. Now we have generic burn cards. We have 3 just desserts, 500 damage for each monster. Ceasefire, again, basically the same thing. Ring of Destruction, we only run 2 just because it is a bit hard to time, especially getting it in a chain. Plus, if they're on really low life points, you have to get exact lethal with this. So we only run 2, and it's searchable of thrust. Secret Barrel, you can probably run this at 3 if you cut one of the thrusts. Really useful, you can just activate this whenever you want. Dimension Wall is basically just a better magic cylinder since it doesn't target, and you can also use it with Mahama since the attack still goes through and you still take damage. Well, you don't take damage, but either player takes damage, you can inflict it again. We have Secret Blast, 300 damage for each card on the field. It's worth holding on to this for as long as you can, just because if it does get destroyed, it deals 1000 damage. So if they target it for removal, they try and pop it, you can flip it in response, and then you'll still get the extra 1000 damage. We run one evenly matched, just a search of triple tactic thrust, and sometimes if you're going second, this could be really useful. Although you don't always want to use it because you have the Just Desserts and the Ceasefire that can take advantage of your opponent having a lot of cards, but sometimes they'll just scoop upon just being evenly matched. We have 2 Trap Trick. Again, you can run 3 of this, probably in place of the Thrust, but you don't really always want to see it since you'll have to do it at the end of a chain and it messes with your chain strike a little bit. And then lastly we have 2 Gravedigger's Trap Hole. This is really funny, it doesn't always go off, but basically if they use an effect in their hand, which almost every deck does, you can negate it and burn them for 2000, and 2000 is a lot considering the only condition is them activating something from hand, and we have a lot of things that activate from hand at the moment. So this is a really, really good include that I would consider running at 3. Now the extra deck does not matter, we don't really run any monsters that we'll be linking into. I would recommend running 3 Fortress Dragon on the very rare chance you run into Cyber Dragon, but to be honest, who is playing Cyber Dragon other than me? And even I'm not playing it because a Rise Heart is here, so anything could be put in here really. So that's it for the deck list, let's go into some games. Okay, so going into our first game here, you'll notice that we'll want to go first almost every single time with this deck since we've got so many trap cards. We draw a pretty good hand here, we're going to start with the Pot of Desires to banish 10. We draw into a few trap cards here, we're going to set the Secret Blast, Just Desserts, another Secret Blast, and 2 Chain Strikes. So we can't activate these 2 Secret Blasts in the same chain unless we activate this last if we want to use the strikes. He's just going to go set 1 and then go Battle Phase end turn. So I'm scared that that's an evenly matched, but whatever, he didn't activate it. Fortunately we can't do much, this isn't a very proactive deck, so we'll just wait to see if he does something, and he does nothing. This is very interesting. I can't tell if he's playing around me or if he's just had a really bricky hand, but I suppose we'll find out shortly. He summons a Maxi, so that must have been a bricky hand. He special summons Almirage and he goes into Exceed. Luckily we've got the Maxi here so we can get some advantage of him going into this. Unfortunately he has the Crossout Designator, and here if I were to activate Chain Strike that would do 1600 damage, but for some reason I decided not to, just because I think I can chain them all in one. He's going to use the Exceed effect to summon another Exceed, going into Splash Mage. Looks like we're playing against some sort of Mathmech Cybers type deal. He's going to special back the Exceed and go into Transcode Talker, using the Transcode Talker to bring back the Splash Mage. Using the Splash Mage and the Almirage to go into Heat Soul. He's burning himself for 1000, which is quite nice of him. We do like to see that. Unfortunately, he does now go into Access Code. He's going to use the effect targeting the Talker to gain 3000, then banishing the Splash Code to destroy our Chain Strike, which is a shame. But on destruction, we'll activate the Just Desserts and the Chain Strike just to make sure they don't get popped, leaving our 2 Secret Blasts to get popped for 1000 damage. Luckily, he does go for the pop again, and we'll deal 1000 with Secret Blast effect. He'll go again, and we'll hit him once more with the 1000 damage on the Secret Blast. Now, we don't have that much damage here. He's going to activate the Small World, revealing the Gamma, adding the Circular, and banishing the other Kaiju as well, revealing the Circular to special summon it, and going into battle, which is hitting me for 53. We're not dead, and I'm very glad he summoned that Circular for no apparent reason, because it lets us Lava Golem him this turn, which is very nice of him. We're going to do the Lava Golem, and we're going to set the Ring of Destruction that we drew, and the Dimension Wall. This seems like it's going to be it. He's going to take 1000 damage, he's going to switch this to attack position, hoping to attack for lethal, and then we'll go for the Dimension Wall to reflect that damage right back at him. This deck can punish very hard for bricking, and that is a good example as to why. Going into game 2, we are going first. Once again, we have drawn into the Thrust and a couple of nice bits. We'll use a Pot of Extravagance here, banishing 6, drawing into a few trap cards. We'll set the Ceasefire, Just Desserts, Dimension War, and the Chain Strike. Now, he's just going to go straight into battle and do Evenly Matched, which is a shame, but we'll chain the Chain Strike just to deal 800 damage, get some value out of it a while before it is destroyed. We'll just send everything but the Dimension Wall, since this has the highest potential to do damage here. He's going into Chaos Space into the Wyver Buster. Now, this looks like Dragon Link, so he's going to go on for a very long turn here. Going into Striker Dragon, using the Wyver Buster and the Striker Dragon, adding a Boot Sector Launch, adding the Black Dragon Collapser, and yep, Romulus, this is one of the longest combos. combo decks I see on ladder, he's adding the Ravine, going to activate the Ravine, pitching the Buster. Yeah, he's just doing a lot of things here. Like, combo decks like these I find so hard to keep up with, especially in real life. I kind of just nod along and go, yep, I'm sure you're not cheating right now. Actually, no, I'm not sure you're not cheating, but go for it. Luckily, he's just going to link summon a shitload of times. Rocket Tracer, yada da da da. Borderland Dragon is part of the end board here. He's targeting these two, and then he's going to synchro into Borderland Savage. Now, these two, they look like prime targets for a Lava Golem. You see? Thunder Dragon Colossus is here as well, but really, we're not going to do much with him. He can protect himself from being destroyed, but why do we care? We drew into Mahama. We can especially summon the Lava Golem on those two targets and set the triple tactics thrust, just in case he has some sort of destruction. We'll hope he gets that instead of the Dimension Wall. So to switch both these to attack, we need a Dimension Wall on the Lava Golem here to reflect 3,000 back, and we're going to allow that 26 to come through. Now, we didn't activate the Bahama here in hopes that we draw something that can kill him with it, but we drew into a Gravedigger's Trap Hole, so hopefully he does something here. Foolish Burial, but he does take 1,000 off the Lava Golem, so if he does attack and has no negate for the Bahama, we will be fine. Luckily he used the Star Liege Safer here, so we can negate that and burn for 2,000 anyway. So if he doesn't get rid of the Lava Golem here, and negates this, we're fine. But he attacked, and that will be enough for us. We'll reflect that damage back over, and that's game for him. The stuff like Dragon Link is one of the reasons I think new players have trouble, because even I have trouble following that, and I've played for a little while. Going into our third game, we're actually going second here. Surprising, I know. Let's see how we can weasel out of this one. He's going to normal summon Naturia Camellia. He's going to pitch the Sacred Tree and add the Mole Cricket. Now, this looks like it's probably going to be Naturia Runic. He's going to activate the Blessing, summoning the Mole Cricket, and using those two, he's going to Naturia Feast, which doesn't do much against this deck. We only have a couple of spell cards at our disposal. He's going to bring back the Mole Cricket and then use Runic Tip to add Freezing Curses, which is fine by us. He banishes a Dimension Wall and then sets one. Luckily, he did summon the Mole Cricket back, so we can Lava Golem here, which is what we will do. Summoning the Lava Golem, and oh, can we just appreciate the sound of setting 4 cards in the replay? Chef's kiss. We did set 2 Secret Barrels, 1 Ceasefire and 1 Chain Strike, just for your information. He's going to, well, the Love Golem will activate. He's going to activate the Freezing Curses here. Luckily, he's on the Chain Link 2 now, so we're going to start our Chain Links. We'll go Chain Link 3 Secret Barrel, Chain Link 4 Ceasefire, and then Chain Link 5 Chain Strike, dealing plenty of damage. We could have waited for the Runic Summon to do this chain, but we thought we'd get Chain Strike while we can. Burning for around, let's see, 3,500 damage in total. He summons the Hugin, and then he'll burn for 1,000 from the Lava Golem. He'll use the Hugin effect, pitching the Sacred Tree, grabbing the Fountain. He uses the tree to add back a Camellia from deck, and then he's going to go into main phase 1. That was all in the standby phase. He used the Camellia, pitching the Sacred Tree to add another Blessing. We've seen this last turn, so we'll watch it again. Oh, he switched it up. He brought back the Beast this time. He'll use the Hugin and the Naturia monster to go into Stardust Charge Warrior to draw 1 card. Going into Runic Fountain, and he'll Runic Destruction to destroy our back row. Luckily it's Secret Barrel, so we can chain this in response to deal a little bit of damage here. It's not the ideal situation to use it, but we'll take it. If it's going to be destroyed, we might as well take that damage. He's got 2,100 life points left, so we're pretty close on killing him here. We top deck Ring of Destruction. Now that's brilliant. We'll set the Triple Tactics Thrust as well. In the standby phase, we'll activate the Ring of Destruction, going for the Charge Warrior since it has 2,000 attack. Unfortunately, we can't do 2,200 because that's too much. He'll activate a Runic Smiting Storm in response to banish 2 cards from our deck. We'll then proceed to use a Fountain to draw 3. Now in the standby phase, he will use the Runic Slumber on the Lava Golem to banish a couple from my deck. He's about to take damage, but no, he refuses to die. He activates the Maxi. He activates Ash Blossom on the Maxi just for fun. He's having a fun time. So am I. I'm watching him die. Now, let's just let this chain resolve and let him die. Let's let him have a think about what just happened. So, you've seen the games that I ran through on the Duelist Cup. Now, let's go through some pros and cons. The pros of this deck is that it's very easy to run. The only thing you have to do is a little bit of math in your head, and that's about it. And the second pro is that it's relatively cheap, and as I say, it's quite autopilot, so you can just go on ladder, click some buttons, and then you'll probably win. However, there are a few disadvantages. This strategy is incredibly linear. If your opponent knows what you're on by saying the first card, they know how to play around it, and that can really hurt. And sometimes this does just brick as well. This is a lot of trap cards, and you need your opponent to do stuff, or you can't do much. Overall, though, it's a really fun and cheesy deck. I do love cheesy decks in general. I love to cheese out those wins out of some really dumb strategies. So this is a fun one to run if you feel like playing Burn. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you used in this Duelist Cup. I'm excited to see what you are playing. Are you playing Cash Tier and Pearly, the Tier 1 stuff, or are you playing some jank like me, like Chain Burn, which is disgusting. So if you made it this far in the video, please do feel free to hit subscribe. New Yu-Gi-Oh videos each week, and as always, happy dueling.